This edition of Mac Voices is supported by you, our viewers and listeners, through our new Patreon campaign. If you get value from Mac Voices, please consider helping support the show by visiting patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to Mac Voices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we just keep going down the road to Macstock in Woodstock, Illinois in July. I'm looking forward to it. Each one of these shows, as you know, we're talking to the presenters, we're talking to the speakers, we're talking to pretty much anyone associated with bringing you Macstock and giving you an idea of what you will learn, what you will see there. And so this time, complete with a shrine to Macstock,
right?
Mr. David Ginsburg. David, how are you?
Doing great. It's great to be back on your show, Chuck. And
yeah.
I thought I'd put a shrine out. I know Mike's going to appreciate that. Got all the mugs, got all the T-shirts. And I mean, wearing the very first one on my body here.
Yeah.
So it's I'm very proud to be part of Macstock, and that's what I wanted to represent.
You know, that's an interesting statement, David, because that's exactly the way I feel too. I'm proud to be part of Macstock, and I think that's a safe thing to say for pretty much all the presenters, that this isn't just something that we go do because we have to or you feel obligated. You really want to go do it, and you're proud to be part of it.
I really am, and I have been. And me being the one that's the local guy, you know, I'm very close. It's rather unique because the rest of our speakers are traveling and coming into town. I'm just driving up the road to come see everybody. So, but yeah, I agree. It's just been a really exciting, fun time for these last three sessions, and I can't wait for the new one. Again, every year I keep saying it. Every time you interview me, I just can't wait for the next one. So we have a lot of fun things coming up today at Macstock.
Well, and your story is kind of an interesting one because you presented at the first Macstock, and that was really one of the first presentations of that kind that you'd given. And now here we are this many years later, and now you're not only doing presentations on a regular basis, but you are a podcaster, at least one, maybe two, three, I don't know, I've lost track. So, you know, it's been quite an evolution for you.
It really has. And, you know, I got into it late in the game. You guys have been in it for a really long time. I've got a lot of catching up to do, but I think I'm doing a very good job of it. I'll still never forget you making me feel very comfortable on stage during the first Macstock. Says, what are you doing next week? And that's what really you got me hooked when you said that to me. And yeah, it's just it really has been kind of unique. And I'm trying to get involved with a lot of the podcasts. And you know, I'm on Mike's podcast from time to time when he does it. And I'm very sad about Mike LaPlante leaving us and iChat Radio. I really loved doing that. But you know, I'm wishing everything well for Mike. But yeah, I'm hoping to continue on with it. And podcasts are a lot of fun. Do something different than what I'm doing in my daily job with the IT support. So it's a lot of fun, and I made a lot of friends, and that's what's great about this Macstock as well. So all of the great friends we have in the community. So
I know people are tired of me saying it, but yeah, it's great to see your old friends and the friends you made the last couple of years. But it's also fun to meet those new friends, the people that I know that are going to be at Macstock that I have not met yet. But by the end of the weekend, they will be friends that I will look forward to communicating with and hopefully seeing again at future Macstocks. It's just the way it works.
It really is, and there's a lot of new speakers I have not met for the first. I'll be meeting them for the first time. I'm excited to that as well because we have a lot of great speakers that are on the slate for this year, and there's a few I haven't met before. So I'm looking forward to that, getting to know them and others, and I'm hoping a lot of other newbies come out and meet me and meet all of us and learn a lot of things that we love to share when it comes to the Apple devices and the Apple community. So.
Yeah, and you know, other than maybe a sense of a very good-natured sense of one-upsmanship, everybody does share. You know, you're trying. If you bring a problem to Macstock, you're going to have a whole cadre of people that are going to try to solve it. And if you don't bring any problems, you know, you can jump in and try to solve somebody else's problems, or just share tips and tricks. That's just the atmosphere.
And that's what I think you and I and all of us love doing. We love Apple products. We love our technology. We love to share what we learn all the time, and it's a lot of fun. And I think that's what really has made the Macstock such a great event because it's so cozy. Unfortunately, I never got to experience going into Macworld, but I know that was a lot different and a lot a lot of people there, and that's what makes Macstock so great. It's so cozy. It's so you just go into a regular place, an event, and you'll be able to pretty much talk to everybody that's there. So that's what I really love about Macstock.
Well, you heard my intro that I've done every time with one of these, that we're trying to give people an idea of what they will hear and what they will learn. And so what are you going to bring us this year? You've kind of been all over the place with topics. This year with the theme of productivity, though, how are you going to approach it?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach it by creating a kind of a workflow, not necessarily a workflow, but just to be productive, utilizing not only your iPhone, your Apple Watch, which is a lot of people that aren't doing a lot with, and your iPad. And really what I want to do is to just the core items of everything that we use, iMessage, calendars, notes, and the file management. I just want to kind of do a 20-minute short presentation as far as the short presentation on all these functions and how you can be productive in using them. Like I said, especially the Apple Watch. I think a lot of things, I've got some items up my sleeve that I think people are going to learn, because that's the thing. A lot of people don't realize how powerful the Apple Watch really is, and to incorporate it into your world, including your Mac too. I mean, I'm going to focus more on the iOS side of things, but looking at that as well. So I think it'll be a lot of fun and a lot of learning, because there's a lot of things there's always something I'm learning about the iOS and iPhone, iPad, all those devices. It's a never-ending thing, really, when it comes down to it.
David, since you're focusing on iOS, have you adopted more of an iOS workflow for your projects at home or at the office, or are you still kind of Mac, or do you split the two?
I split the two. I mean, I still got to be in Mac, and from our prior conversations, obviously with Jamf and doing other things that I've been doing in the IT support world, yeah, Mac's kind of hard to not take it out of my workflow, but. I've seen a lot of people and heard a lot of different podcasts of people talking about, can you really take the Mac out of the equation and make iOS your de facto? I did a presentation in Macstock talking about that a number of years ago, if you recall. It's getting there. It's almost there. It's hard for me to walk away from the Mac and not have that as part of my equation of all my work and support.
I'm looking forward to this one, because the Apple Watch, I'm sure I don't use it to its capacity, but I am also finding that I'm using it for more and more things. And I think it's partially because I'm changing my mindset, but it's also partially because the developers now, the Apple Watch, the Series 3, it's powerful enough, but the software has developed enough and the thinking has developed enough that now it's just not enough. It's not enough to just say, oh, I publish app X and, oh yeah, we have an Apple Watch version, right, which really didn't do a whole lot. It just, it was there and it had the icon and that was about it. Now you're seeing some of these things actually able to interact with their Mac or iOS counterparts and really be productive.
Yeah, and I've talked about this on my podcast, In Touch with iOS, with Melissa. There was a podcasting app that you actually could go in and download your podcasts and be able to listen to them on your Apple Watch without you having to bring your phone. So that's really becoming more and more of a norm with apps in general when it comes to the Apple Watch. I don't have the cellular version of the watch, and I don't think I'm missing anything. So, but I do have the Series 3 watch, and I think the performance of it is amazing. And it really, like you said, with the software updates that have happened on the Apple Watch, it's really becoming more and more of a device you could adopt. And with the health stuff, I mean, that's great in itself and what it all can do. But I want to kind of just throw it in there in my presentation, just to kind of give some people a little more knowledge with the Apple Watch. But of course, you've got to mix in the important ones, the iPhone and the iPad. So,
absolutely. Everyone wants to try to replace everything with everything else. I don't understand that. I've got a laptop. My laptop replaces my iMac, and then you go to the iPad, and the iPad should replace my laptop, and then you get down, the phone should replace the iPad, and pretty soon now, we want everything to be done on the watch. Well, that's just not realistic. You pick the right tool for the right job and the one that you prefer.
Yeah, and again, keeping back on the Apple Watch, it's just like you said, it's use the device that you think is going to work for your benefit, and in the theme of productivity, you can be productive with all three of these devices. And I think most of us that are going to be at Macstock have all three devices. So you really want to have a good understanding and value of how you can be productive using them. I know other speakers going to be talking about tagging. I remember Brett was on your show and he talked about that. And I was intrigued about that because I hadn't realized that you could do the tagging on iOS. I'm not going to do that because he's going to talk about tagging, but I really like to learn more about that. So I can't wait to sit through his session as well. And so there's going to be a lot of great iOS topics that are going to be at Macstock, and mine included with that. And I'm looking to go deeper with the deeper dives because that's what's great about this year with Macstock. We have a smaller number of speakers, but a lot of great content that's going to come out of it. And the deeper dive is going to be even more fun. We can spend an hour with me going deeper with being more productive using Siri and using some of the apps I like PDF Expert and Scanner Pro and those types of apps where you can be more productive with PDFs and with scanning documents, and there's so much that you can do. And in the 20 minutes in my first session, obviously I'm not going to be able to hit that, but in the deeper dive, that's what I love about our deeper dives, be able to get into that information and get people interested in what they want to do with their workflow.
And I would think the deeper dives, so many of them are going to be not just you lecturing for 60 minutes, but it's going to be, more of an interactive discussion about how can you do this? And, you will probably learn things along the way too. I mean, that's just the way Macstock works.
It is, and you've known me almost 4 years now. I can't believe it's been 4 years now that you've seen my presentations, and you see that I love to interact with the audiences, and I think most speakers do. But doing that really gets the audience intrigued and interested in what you have to talk about. And like you said, in the deeper dive, I don't want to treat it as I'm just going to sit up here and go, oh look, you could do this and you could do this. I want people to get involved, interact, and learn things without having to sit up and watch a presentation. Nothing against doing presentations because there are places for it, but the deeper dives, I think, in my opinion, they should be something like that where people get deep involved with the speaker.
Well, and especially yours. I mean, this will be perfect because everyone that has an Apple Watch will be wearing their Apple Watch. Yeah. And anybody that has an iPad or an iPhone can bring one or both to that session and have them on their lap and follow along or implement whatever it is that you're going to be talking about.
So, and what's great about Macstock too is timing too, is because the Worldwide Developers Conference will be done and gone by that time at the end, and we'll already know what Apple's ideas are going to be for the fall season. I would anticipate 11.4 will get released, and I'm sure they're going to announce iOS 12 at that point. So there's going to be, I think it's going to be some exciting times. I could even dabble a little bit on what we can expect, with as we always do every year. I mean, that's my excitement. The Worldwide Developers Conference, me doing the reaction time episode with Mike for Mac Guys Only is just kind of a holiday for me because a lot of times I take the day off because I love doing it, and he's really got me so into it that I decide just to take a day off so I can enjoy it because there's just so much to absorb in what the Apple talks about. So
yeah, it's, as we should say, in case it's not obvious, folks, that we're recording this pre WWDC. So if all kind of goodies have come out already, we just don't know about it while we're talking about it here. Yeah. David, you started out by saying that you're going to be talking about workflows, and so is this going to be? I mean, obviously you'll be doing workflows since you said it, but are you going to be giving specific app advice, or is it more just about moving data from one to another, or the kind of things you can move?
My workflow, I guess maybe that's not a good word because workflow is an app and workflow has its whole nother thing to do. So it's probably more so managing how do you be productive managing your emails, messages, calendar, notes, and file management. I mean, those are the core things that what iOS can do. And I would like to just go through it and give people how they can be productive going across all three devices. And I'm going to go under the assumption that anybody that's going to be in the room has all three devices, or at least two. And I want to go through that and actually get everybody a good understanding of how you can keep productive. Not going through a lot of the major productivity things that a lot of people have focused on, just more so just simple ways of how you can your workflow can work when you're just doing the basic things like email and messages, calendar, notes. That's all the things that we do on a day-to-day basis.
judging by the interviews I've already done with the presenters and knowing the agenda that's out there on the Macstock website, I don't think there's going to be an Apple device, possibly the Apple TV, but I'm not sure. Other than that, there's pretty much every Apple device is going to have some take on productivity. And I think that's, first of all, it's amazing that Apple produces all those devices that can integrate in and be used for productivity. And then, and I guess there's an argument too that an Apple TV done right can be a productivity device. So yeah.
Apple TV is a little harder to demonstrate, especially and kind of discuss during a session. But I think Apple TV has come a long way. I mean, I've got 3 of them now. I've got them in different TVs. I just got the 4K one. I don't have a 4K TV yet, but who knows? It might be there soon. But the 4K is a big thing now, and their interface is just amazing. I mean, they've really done a great job, and it really is. They've integrated a lot of what iOS does with tvOS, and it might be something I might dabble a little. That might surprise you. It's surprising people, but again, the limits on time is the hard part. But I want to at least people when they leave the session that in my presentation that they could get a little something out of. Maybe they learn a few things as far as being productive using all these core apps.
You're a bigger tease than just about anybody I've talked to so far.
Well, I mean, you told me we don't want to give them the whole presentation.
Yeah,
so.
No, that's fair. I mean,
I wanted to just give everybody just a good understanding of what I really want to talk about, and hopefully I bring some good information across to everybody.
Well, I will speak for you and say that if you do have, especially productivity questions related to Apple Watch or iOS, bring them along and throw them at David and see what his thoughts are, because he's been focusing on this aspect of it now for quite some time. Yeah.
I mean, at the Apple User Group, I've been doing a lot of the last few sessions. We've talked about some of these things, so it's definitely something that I've been really interested in for the last few months, and got to finish up the presentation, so I'm ready to go. But making that time is always tough. How it is. A lot of the long hours we both work, so. But we'll get it going, and I can't wait.
Oh yeah, and it's fun putting those presentations together because you have ideas for them, and then in the shower or when you're sitting in a meeting that you really should be thinking about something else. You're thinking about the presentation, and new ideas come to you. So yeah, it's going to be definitely a lot of fun. Not just our sessions, but Macstock overall.
It's overall, and it's a long weekend for me, a long but fun weekend for me, and as well as I'm sure it is you. I'm going to focus on being there and being with our friends and being with all of our, hopefully some newbies that are coming to Macstock this year. I'm hoping that happens, and we'll have some fun. Barry Falk's going to do a great job, I know, with the parties, and we'll have some great food and some great activities that are going to be happening on that Saturday night. So I mean, we got all the sessions covered across during the day as well as at night, and I think we'll have a pre Macstock, and we have a post Macstock, and so I think we really want people to be part of a great network of fun things to do. And it's not just being at the sessions the Saturday and the Sunday, but also the pre and post. I mean, if you remember what we did last year, we had a blast. That was a lot of fun. I mean, I look forward to hoping to do that again, and we'll probably be at the same location we had last year. So just doing that kind of stuff, and like I said, that's what makes Macstock great, because it's a small, close knit sessions, and you're going to be able to meet pretty much everybody there. Those big sessions, nothing against them, but they've turned their course, and I think this event has always been a lot of fun.
The one thing you probably won't get if you come to Macstock is a lot of sleep. Other than that,
that's okay.
Yeah, you can sleep on the way home.
People will probably be staying at their hotels. I'll be staying at my lake house down the street. But that's so we'll get a little bit of sleep. But yeah, you're right. You're always like laying in bed and like, I'm ready to do this. I don't. Yeah.
Well, now, as I've been telling everyone every time we do one of these, that Mike Potter was kind enough to give me a special code. And he's also given the speakers a special code. Both of them will get you the same price. It's the best price going out there. It's equivalent to the very first early bird price that was offered back in January. The only way you can get it, though, is you have to use one of our speaker codes. Mine, of course, is MacVoices. David, what is yours?
Mine is In Touch.
In Touch.
In Touch, like part of my podcast, In Touch. with iOS. In touch, all
Got
two,
it.
all one. But use either code. We're not bashful.
No, I mean, we want you to come. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter which code. In fact, you can use either one of our codes. You can use any of the other speaker codes. The whole point, though, is just get to Woodstock, Illinois. Come to Macstock. You're going to have a great time. More importantly, I think, than just having a great time, though, you're going to learn so much. You're going to go home with all kind of ideas about what you can do better, do more, do faster, do easier with your Apple tech.
Yes.
David, as always, I want to make sure everyone knows where they can find you before Macstock.
Yes.
So give me a quick rundown on all your projects and social media presences.
Projects, we're doing the podcast, of course, In Touch with iOS, and with Melissa Davis. Going to be recording an episode this week. We've been off a couple weeks, so scheduling changes and stuff, but that's going to come tomorrow, and we'll get that out this end this week. I've actually been doing, if you don't mind if I mention it, I've been doing a kind of an interesting podcast that has nothing to do with technology. It's actually horse racing. A good friend of mine, Steve Duckhorn, is a very good handicapper for horses, and we decided to do a podcast, and we're having just an absolute blast. And just if I kind of spin it with a way of technology, really, because it's, even though there is tech in horse racing, but there's also tech in the podcast, and we're having a blast doing it. We've had 37 episodes. We're getting tons of downloads. I mean, it's amazing. That's what I say. You got me hooked on podcasting, and I'm doing this once a week. We're religiously doing it once a week. There were times where I had to do it early in the morning one week because I had to go do something, and I'm recording a podcast at 6:30 in the morning. So, yeah, so we're a little cool. That's how committed we are to the show. But it's called offthechartshorseracing.com. That's the website. Still leading the suburban Chicago Apple users at our Apple user group. It's going really well. I'm real excited about that. We're that's at myscau.org, and really having a blast doing that. A lot of good presentations have happened in the last few months. You were there a few months ago, and we'll welcome you back again sometime in the future. So a lot of good things. In fact, we just planned we're planning a field trip down to the Apple Store on Michigan Avenue for our group. I friended a really nice guy that's one of the business partners at the Apple Store locally here in Chicago, and he was happy to put together for us a field trip, we're calling it, to go down to the Apple Store on Michigan Avenue. If anybody's aware of that store, that's one of the big anchor stores they built late last year. So I'm really looking forward to doing that down in August, so during the summertime. So, but lots of stuff going on, yeah. And then we have Macstock. So I really appreciate you having me on your show as always, and love to share my knowledge with everybody, and as far as your listeners and viewers as well.
Well, David, it's always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to seeing you at Macstock, hearing your presentation, hearing all the presentations, and just sharing a really fun weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Wait,
we'll see you then. So, and your code is again In Touch.
In Touch.
Got it. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. My code is MacVoices. I hope that you, one way or the other, that you get to Macstock. I don't care whose code you use. Just come up, shake hands with David, shake hands with me. We would love to meet you and introduce you to some of our friends that will become your friends. Until then, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.